The transfer merry-go-round is back at it, and Spurs are being linked with some new names after the stasis of the past fortnight, including one suggested deal where Daniel Levy might well be trying to get one over on Mad Marinakis of Nottingham. Meanwhile, with just a few hours to go until the first North London derby away from Great Britain, I'll be bringing my suggested team and thoughts on the big one that for once isn't really much of a big one, as long as we don't get thrashed. All that and more on today's daily Tottenham transfer news. Guys, thanks so much for watching and listening wherever you are. Please do give this video a like on YouTube and press that subscribe button. And also, you'll see in the description box below that you can nominate me for a football content award. If you like my stuff, just click on the link and go and nominate me for one of those two suggested categories. Thank you so much. But let's get into the Tottenham transfer news. And one that actually, strangely, over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been like, I think this is a player Tottenham should be going for, because all the reports coming out of West Ham, yes, West Ham, who we already bought Mohamed Kudus off for £55 million this summer, are that Lucas Paquetá, their really brilliant playmaker from Brazil, is potentially available for sale. And I think Tottenham could well be in the market for him. Yes, admittedly, it's the Daily Mail who've reported it, but they say that we're interested in a surprising transfer for the West Ham star, who could, according to all reports over the last 10 days, be available for just £30 million. He was close to joining Manchester City just a year ago for £80 million. Maybe that was 2 years ago, actually. But involvement in betting and the spot fixing accusations scuppered his switch to the Etihad Stadium. So according to a lot of reports, West Ham just want to get him off their books. But £30 million, I mean, that is an absolute no-brainer for me. It's a steal. He is a little genius with the ball at his feet, but also, surprisingly, maybe for a Brazilian central attacking midfielder, he likes to get stuck in as well, likes to get about, good presser of the ball. And if he did become available and West Ham were surprisingly willing to sell him to Spurs, I think we should take him. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I really like him as a player. I'd be honest, I'm a little cynical about the reality of him being available for £30 million. I cannot see why West Ham would sell him for that, although I'm not fully aware of his contract situation. Also, some reports yesterday that Tottenham are joining Newcastle in being interested in Brighton's Jan-Paul van Hecke. Sorry, their asking price is €50 million, so that's just a touch over £40 million. He wants to play in the Champions League. He's another one that I would say has been added to Tottenham's list of centre-backs in the instance that Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid come through with a bid high enough for Christian Romero that Daniel Levy would accept. And that, for me, has got to be above £80 million. And that's why I'm kind of reticent to think that Romero might leave. He looks like he's being very professional during this preseason, Christian Romero. He's interested in playing for Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank saying good things about him. Now, I don't necessarily think that Romero is going to sign a new contract anytime soon for Spurs. I think he'll kind of stay if he has to and see what the situation is in a year's time when he'll only have 1 year left on his deal. But I do see him playing for Tottenham this season. And like I've said a few times, I could potentially see Thomas Frank giving him the captain's armband as well. More reports that Spurs are still interested alongside Chelsea and Newcastle. Chelsea, of course, interested in every single player in signing Mark Gay, Crystal Palace's captain. They want £40 million. This is according to Sammy Mertbell at the BBC. And he only has 1 year left on his contract. I think all of those clubs are kind of waiting till towards the end of the transfer window to see whether that valuation will drop. £40 million for a centre-back with 1 year left, I think, even though he's an England international and he's their captain, I think is a little high. I think teams will be expecting to get him for about 10 to 15 million pounds cheaper. And Daniel Levy, as we know, will certainly be trying to wait until he can get him for an optimum value. But there have been reports this summer saying that Gahey is kind of the least interested in a move to Spurs out of all of those potential options. Although I would say if Chelsea drop out of it, and Chelsea, of course, are just spending so much money, if they were to drop out of that, then if it was a battle between Newcastle and Spurs, I wonder if maybe Gahey would become interested in coming to Tottenham again. That remains to be seen. But once again, another centre-back who I just can't see us buying unless Romero were to leave the club. Okay, some reports over the last 24 hours that Tottenham are readying a bid of £45 million for João Palhinha. Obviously, we know he's on the list. I think in reality, Spurs would rather get him on a loan because he's 29, 30 years old, hasn't had a good previous season for Bayern Munich. £45 million seems a bit high. I think basically if Tottenham were to bid £45 million for a 29-year-old João Palhinha, then Bayern Munich would snap their hands off. I cannot see that happening. Like I've said before, if it's going to happen, I think it would be on a loan with an option, and that loan fee would probably be taken out of the money Bayern Munich still owe for Harry Kane. But obviously, Bayern and Spurs have great relationship in terms of transfers. Matthias Tel, Harry Kane. They're also playing each other in a friendly in a week or two's time, and maybe there'll be some boardroom, here and there in the corporate boxes at that game. Some reports yesterday, Tottenham are trying to gazump Nottingham Forest bid for Manchester City's James McAtee. They had an initial bid of £25 million rejected for the 22-year-old England under-21 international. He's entering his final year of his contract at the Etihad, and Man City want to cash in on him. I personally don't think he's nearly as talented as, say, Cole Palmer or Liam Delap or any of the other real talents who have come out of the Manchester City Academy and found deals elsewhere. But I also can imagine Daniel Levy is pretty aggro at the moment about what happened with Morgan Gibbs-White and Marinakis saying we always win. So you can see probably some ego-based tit for tat and Tottenham trying to raise the valuation of McAtee so that Nottingham Forest have to pay more. As sad as that sounds, I can absolutely see it. But I don't really see McAtee coming to Spurs. But let me know. Do you like him? I haven't seen that much of him. Maybe he is better than I think. Spurs winger Mikey Moore is expected to sign his contract extension at Spurs before making his loan move to Rangers. That makes sense. And Jed Spence has received a new contract proposal from Spurs that he's keen on accepting. That's according to Paul O'Keefe. Talks are underway. That also makes a lot of sense. Udogie is out, so I thoroughly expect Jed Spence to be starting in today's friendly against Arsenal. I will be going into my suggested team in a minute. Matthias Tel did an interview whilst out in Hong Kong. He was asked about his aims for this season. He said, for me, Tottenham can win everything. Like I said, it's a big club. Every competition we play in, we play with a lot of energy and we'll prepare for the game. I actually really love Matthias Tel's attitude and personality. Very positive thinker, really believes in himself, but also believes in this squad. And I'm kind of hoping, although I have a little bit of a slightly fearful feeling about today's friendly against Arsenal because they're so far ahead of us in pre-season and with signings and the project and stuff. I'm kind of hoping that maybe the kind of winning mentality that we might have, having won that Europa League, might actually show me some surprises in today's game. Maybe we'll be a little better than I'm expecting, basically. Matthias Tel was also asked about why he stayed at Spurs permanently. He said, I'm really happy about it. It's a big club. It's time to write the story at a club like this. I'm very happy to be here and try to have more success with the club. He was asked about Thomas Frank and the position he'll be used in primarily this season. He says, I don't talk about position. Just the main thing is the collective. Every player is important. We'll see what happens. I just need to be ready and prepare myself to play. I mean, that's not just Matthias Tel's personality. That just shows what Thomas Frank is trying to instill into this team and this squad as well. But I like the way that Tel takes everything on board. And, it comes off the back of last season when he went into the crowd to protect Ange Postecoglou, and he just said some very smart things. But don't forget, Tel is still a very young player, very raw, and he hasn't started a lot of senior elite games. Even at Bayern Munich, he mainly only came off the bench. So we're going to have to be patient with Tel as well. He was also asked about learning from Sonny. He said, I'm talking all the time with Sonny. He has more experience than me. I just want to learn and make sure that I become better every day. He helps me every single day. Sonny is a legend. Everybody knows him, and I'm very happy to work with him. So I actually have Tel down to start on the left-hand side of the forward line in today's game. Let me know what you think when I go through my suggested team. Also, can recommend to you guys a really great interview with Will Lancashire that Ali Gold has done on football.london. He comes across really well. I'd actually forgotten, but Lancashire has a very similar kind of start in football as Harry Kane. He was on Arsenal's books and he was let go, and he has a real desire and motivation to really stuff it down their throat. He talks in this interview a lot about wanting to play today, get on the pitch and score against them and do better than Arsenal, and how he's learned from his loan spell at West Brom last season. And he just seems like a really put together guy. For me, I think he needs to beef up a little bit more physically. He has started to do that, but he's got a real poacher's instinct. That goal against Reading showed that. That goal last season against Galatasaray showed that. And I think with another loan spell or two and just some physical growth, I think Lancashire could become a really excellent goal scorer. And I'd love to see one day him to start scoring some goals for Spurs. All right, before I go into my team for the Arsenal game, Guys, once again, if you're enjoying my content, please do give this video a like on YouTube. Do subscribe to the channel and press that notification bell to find out when I drop my daily content. And you can become a member. Only £1 a month really helps me make this content for you. All the details of how are in the description box below. Okay, guys, I'm going to be doing a live watch along for the Arsenal game. It'll start today at 12:25. The game starts at 12:30 in the afternoon from Hong Kong, the North London derby, the big one. And I think Thomas Frank will go with a strong starting 11 for this. I really do. I don't see why he wouldn't. He mixed the two teams up in the games at the weekend against Wickham and Luton, and now I expect him to bring them together. So my suggested team is Vicario in goal, Porro at right back, Spence at left back, of course, as I said, Udogie injured, Van de Ven and Romero to start at centre half. And then I've got Bentancur and Basuma in the double pivot, with Bergvall playing a little bit further ahead of them. Maybe some of you will say, well, what about Pat Matasar? It is possible that Pat Matasar plays instead of Basuma, but I think Basuma will offer a little more technically on the ball in that kind of double pivot. And so that's why I think he might go there. Bergvall as the more advanced of the three central midfielders. And then I think he'll go Tell on the left, Kudus on the right, and Richarlison up front. And I hear you ask, well, what about Sonny? Well, I think Sonny is just a little bit behind everybody else in terms of his preseason. He hasn't looked quite there in the legs. It wouldn't surprise me if he started on the left, but I think Tell will be fresher. That's why I picked him. And also, of course, there are question marks over Sonny's future at the club after this tour. And then the final reason I think Tell will start ahead of Son is because I think Sonny will be saved to play the whole game in the South Korean leg of the tour. That's my suggestion. I might well be wrong. Let me know in the comments what team you think he'll pick. And do join me at 12:30 on this channel for my live watch along, and we can all talk in the comments throughout the game and watch it together. I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Do give the video a like, press that subscribe button and the notification bell, and come and find me on the audio podcast platforms as well. Just type in the Spurred On podcast to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and give me a like, a subscribe, a follow, and a rating there. All right, guys, I'll see you at 12:30. Come on, you Spurs.